This plant is the one most in need of being repotted, and honestly I put it out this spring and it's just gone crazy. It's huge, but you can see it's so big that's very difficult for the water now to get down to the soil, so that's kind of a problem. Even though it is a succulent, it's in the cactus family, it's got to have water obviously, so it needs to go in a bigger pot. And there's so much going on underneath. I've got a number of, I guess, babies or offshoots to repot. It's amazing actually. And I was telling you about the leaf that came off, and you can see how it's got roots. So that is going to be just like the last one I showed you. Isn't that amazing? Put that to the side. Yeah, this, you can see in here, it's got this one's coming in and then looking under. See how that's doing? I think all that needs to be separated. And, yeah. And this is going crazy. So it needs a little extra love. And even under here, look at that. Isn't that great? But yeah, it's getting really dried out. And even though a succulent does like it rather dry, you don't want it to be dried out. It still needs water. So here's what we need to repot our succulent. We have the succulent, the bigger pot, the dirt, and then I've got two kinds of rocks. And I'll show you why we need the rocks in just a minute. The thing that I want to show you about this pot is the fact that it has this hole in the bottom. This is very important when you buy pots for any plants. You want to make sure that that hole is in the bottom. That is for drainage. It's absolutely critical. If you don't have drainage, then you wind up having plants that get very soggy roots because the water has nowhere to go. Drainage is key in keeping your plants going, and especially in something like a succulent. They do not like wet feet, as we say. So that's the first thing when you're shopping for pots. Make sure they have holes. It's much better than it used to be. It used to be you would go and like nothing had holes in them, and it was terrible. They had all these really pretty pots and you couldn't use any of them. Or you could, but your plants weren't going to make it. So anyway, that's your first step. These rocks. So I have two kinds of rocks. I have the big rocks and the small rocks. And you're going to use rocks in any plant that you repot. And the reason is because if I just put dirt in there, it's going to run right through the hole. And also, when you water, it's going to run right through the hole. And you're just going to wind up with a mess, and your plant is not going to get adequate watering. The key is drainage. You don't want it to run right off, but you also don't want the roots to be sitting in water. So what we're going to do is take this pot with a drainage hole, and the first thing we'll do is take these large rocks, and we're going to set them up around the drainage hole so that the water can work its way around pretty easily. Like, you don't want to block it, obviously, but you don't want stuff to run right out. So that's pretty good. And now we're just going to fill in with the smaller rocks. If we had just put the small rocks in, it would be the same situation of everything just running right out. That doesn't do you any good. So now we have our rocks in the bottom. Now we're going to add some dirt. I use garden soil. They recommend potting soil, but I don't know. I had garden soil. I'm using garden soil. Just going to put it right in. I also recommend using garden gloves because you'll keep your hands cleaner. And this is like got a plastic coating so that they're waterproof. Okay, so now we're going to get this plant into this pot. So we're going to pick it up. I've also seen people who put like rocks on the top of the soil, which, I mean, you could do that. It's not going to hurt anything. I have never done that with these, and they've been fine. Okay, so it's in the pot. Now we're going to give it a drink of water and clean it up. Thanks for watching my repotting a succulent video today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you learned a little bit of something. If you have any questions, please ask me in the comments below, and I hope that you will like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks. Bye. I'll see you next time.